right, welcome back to another video of the collection room. Welcome to the PS1 collection and my tiny little Neo Geo collection and my tiny little SNES collection and one other collection we're going to go over. So, you know, it's hardly a collection, but yeah, that's something. So, so this is the PS1. I like the PS1. I never got super obsessed with it, but I do have some games on it that I particularly really like. And every once in a while, if I see it, I will, you know, grab a couple games if something catches my eye. Like just recently, I bought this Black Bass and Blue Marlin. It's like a 3D fishing game in the Black Bass Blue Marlin series that I never even knew existed, and I just came across it. So, so let's talk about this. So, you know, in the first video, I talked about how every once in a while I'll treat myself. I don't often buy a game that's super expensive, just because most of the time I can't afford it. And, you know, it's just, some of these games are very pricey, and it's hard, you know, if you don't have a lot of disposable income, you know, it's hard to justify buying a game. It's like $140 for a video game, you know. So I don't often do that. I rarely do. But another exception of the few times, like one of the few times where I did treat myself, was this right here, Castlevania Chronicles. This was actually the same place. I bought this at the same place, same convention that I bought my Saturn Symphony of the Night. This is a re-release of Castlevania on the Sharp X68000, or Sharp X68K, as some people call it, a computer. They did a remake of Castlevania. They had their own Castlevania 1, sort of a remake. It's amazing. It's one of the best Castlevania games, I think, but this was the PS2 port, which also included a sort of arranged version where some of the graphics looked different, there were CGI cutscenes, and the music was different, remixed. So, great game. It's one of the, if you play the original version of this, it's one of the hardest fucking Castlevania games you'll ever play. It's up there for me, it's in the top 5 hardest Castlevania games, for sure. It is very brutal, but very good game, you know. It's dope. I got Symphony of the Night right here. You know, some of these things are pretty weird. Okay, so here's a lot of duplicates. All right, you might be wondering what the fuck. You know, you said you don't like duplicates. Well, I do love Chrono Cross, right? I do love this game, and but you know, and I owned it. But these, see how they have this wrapper on them? See how they have that wrapper? It looks like an aftermarket wrapper, right? Like not new and sealed. I think I posted these ones to Imager or something because I was showing them off in a forum post or something. Here's some more. See, here's another one, right? It's got that seal thing on it. But and somebody had left a comment like, "I hope you don't think these are new." Smarty pants. They really didn't know what they were talking about. Because yes, are they new? Yes, they are new, actually. Are they original sealed copies? No, they aren't. They're not. This is something really interesting. So, I'll never forget that fucking guy, dude. Fucking retro gamers, dude. They gotta fucking wag their finger every chance they get to try to educate each other. It's so annoying. Anyway, they're all fucking know-it-alls. So, what this is an open one. I actually opened this one. You notice I have another copy. I thought this was a really interesting thing that Square was doing. So Square Enix in 2016, 2017, something like that, like not long ago, was selling new copies of some of their PS1 games on their website for like $5.99. like this was $5.99, and it's new. And the interesting part about it, like one of the interesting things about it, is that it actually is it's like aftermarket new. Like they manufactured new ones, but it was like before, I guess, because this was so far after, you know, I mean, the PS4 was like, you know, it's 2017 or 2016, right? So they don't even, they are new copies, but look at this, they didn't even dye the discs. Isn't that weird? You know how all the PS1 discs would be like dyed, you know? In this one, they didn't do that, because I guess that was like an after thing. But because it's like so long after the PS1 is gone, that I guess they were just like, there's no point in dyeing them or whatever. So these are technically, yes, they are brand new, and they were sealed up by Square or their warehouse or some shit, and they sold these for very cheap. So I thought, like, that's really cool. That's a really interesting thing. I'm gonna buy like a few of them. I mean, they're dirt cheap, right? I'm gonna buy a few of them. They're interesting. You know, it'd be something cool for the collection. I mean, look at this. This doesn't even look like aftermarket. This looks like really like real, like one of the originals. And who knows? Maybe this one is dyed. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, I bought these off of Square Enix website straight from them for very cheap back in like 2017. So yeah, they are new, but they're not originals new. I don't know. It's very strange. I thought it was interesting. Conversation piece, and it's an interesting thing to have in the collection. Not to mention, I just wanted a copy of, like, you know, Final Fantasy IX, and I wanted a new copy of Chrono Cross, and it was way cheaper than buying the shit new, or buying the shit off somebody on eBay or whatever, and it was straight from Square Enix, you know, and they're like new quality. So yeah, there was that. Civilization 2 on PlayStation. Dude, I love Civilization. I played the shit out of this version, actually. Back when I got it. Driver 2, cool game, you know, I got a couple of them. Dino Crisis 1 and 2, got those. Fade to Black is the sequel to Flashback: The Quest for Identity, the Genesis game I talked about on that last video that I really liked, that I used to run all the time. The sequel is not as good. It's still interesting though. So that's why, that explains all those Final Fantasy things. I'm not actually a huge Final Fantasy fan. I try playing them sometimes. I'm really not a huge fan of them, but I don't know, I couldn't pass up a deal like that. And that was back when I was really like, I was buying way too much shit. There was no reason I needed to buy like 3 copies of it, but I had a problem with buying games, you know. At that time, I was really loose with it. So here we got Ghost in the Shell. This is a really cool one. This was a gift. Actually, a friend of mine, Kyle, gave me this. I don't know if we traded. I think he just gave it to me or something because I really liked it, so he let me have it or something. But that I have. Oh yeah, this here, Legend of Dragoon. This is my original. I bought this new, like when it was brand new at Walmart. This is my original copy. So of Legend of Dragoon. It's like one of the few like PS1 like JRPGs I've actually played through. It's a good game. I'll say the hype is a little overblown, but I feel that way about most JRPGs. But it was fun though. I did sit through it, but it was one of those things. By disc 3, I'm just like, fuck, this is taking forever. Lunar 2, I'm missing disc 1. I really want to get this complete, but I'm missing the first disc, and it's hard to find somebody selling just the disc, and when they do, it's still expensive. Marvel vs. Capcom 1, amazing. I loved this back when I came out, or back when I played it. It probably wasn't new when I got it, but I loved it when I discovered it, you know. Mega Man 8, this is a great Mega Man game. Of course, got Metal Gear Solid. I just bought this, so yeah, I talked about this. Here's my original copy of Abe's Odyssey. Here's part 2, but I did get a black label today. As a matter of fact, I found a copy of a black label, a really nice copy, mind you, for less than 20 bucks. So I had to pick that up just because I'm such a Oddworld fan. Omega Boost is a fantastic game nobody seems to talk about. Very cool game. You should look up a video of it. It's really awesome. You fly mechs around. It's fast paced. It's really cool. It reminds me of Star Fox in some ways. Rayman. Yeah, so here's a couple Resident Evil games. I got Director's Cut. We got Resident Evil 2 and Nemesis here. So that's pretty cool. Here's another one of those games, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I was talking about those games marketed more towards girls or whatever. This is a really fun game. It's not bad. It's a 3D platformer, just, you know, in the style of, you know, a lot of the ones that were out at the time, Crash or whatever. It's a pretty fun game, you know. I like it. Of course, Silent Hill. I got the green label and I have a black label just for good measure. So there, you see, there's a couple things where I am like really collecty, you know, where I want like a good condition and I want both versions, like some stuff like that. I do, you know, I am like that, but it just depends on the game. It's got to be special to me. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that with everything. I'd go crazy. There's the Simple series. This is one of my imports. This is a sumo wrestling game in the Simple series. And it's just what it sounds like. The Simple series was just kind of simple games, you know, and this is a really fun game. I like it a lot. I do have a few imports, you know, on the PS1, but not a ton of them. Bro, where'd that one go? I don't know. I had some other ones, but Sledstorm is a fantastic game. Have you guys ever seen the white label? So, collector's edition. You guys may or may not know what this is, but this actually came from a thing that my brother bought. He had a PlayStation, I think, before I did, right? And so he had a few games, and a lot of the stuff when he got tired of, or he didn't want it or whatever, you know, it'd go in with my games, and I still have them, you know, all this years later. But so this the white label was a collection edition where you could buy a pack. This was like the PS2 had been out for a while, but PS1 games at like Walmart or whatever, there were certain series where you could buy 3 in a box set. It'd be like a box set, and there'd be 3 PlayStation 1 games in there, and this was a part of the racing series. There would be like an adventure series or a fighter series or whatever. This was a part of the racing series, and it was Sledstorm was actually a really good game. That kind of, I think, flew under the radar a little bit. It's a great game. It's got a crazy soundtrack too, like Rob Zombie's on it and all this shit. Tekken 3, Speedball, which is like Powerball. I got another, thought I had another copy of that, but oh yeah, there it is. Why is it over here? This shit's all out of order, man. I gotta fix this. Speedball. This is like a sequel to Powerball in Genesis, basically. Very fun, sort of sports type, futuristic sports type game. Of course, Tekken 3, Worms World Party. My original copy, Worms World Party. Love that game. It wasn't my first Worms game I played, but it was the first one I owned. I used to rent Armageddon a lot. Yeah, the other thing, real quick, I was going to talk about was, oh yeah, the notable ones here. I have Einhander. I have an American, North American version of Einhander. This was also something I got from Dave. I mean, I don't know if Mo fucking, like, I know Mo, you motherfuckers are like, who the hell are these people? But no, it's from the Mojo Boys. I think Mo like signed off on it, but Dave was the one who sent it to me. I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, I still have that shit, so. Evil Dead. Great survival horror game. I'm not great, it's good, but I used to rent it a lot, so you know. But fucking Einhander is so goddamn good though, for real. If y'all motherfuckers never played Einhander, this is a fucking masterpiece. You guys gotta play it. It's a shmup. But and look, it's from fucking Squaresoft. It's a fucking game from Squaresoft that isn't an RPG, man. It's a dope game. It's really good. So okay, let's move on real quick. I got a little small Neo Geo. They're all MVS. I used to have an MVS. That's where I got these 4. I had a 4-slot MVS. I don't have the cabinet anymore. I had some other arcade games. I'll explain what I did with those. And this one I bought. This is Magical Drop 2. Magical Drop 3 is my favorite puzzle game ever, probably. And they had a copy of Magical Drop 2, and I was like, well, you know, it's still a good one, and it was a good price. So I was like, all right, I'll buy it. This is some paintings I did. Check this shit out. Oh yeah, look at this. This is let me see if I can move these just for real quick. You guys can see what that is. This is something, an embroidered, is that embroidered? Not embroidered, cross stitch that Liz did for me. It's from characters from Castlevania 3. She did a cross stitch of that. Isn't that cool? That's like, that was for my birthday, I believe. Birthday or Christmas, I can't remember. I really love when gifts I get, you know, I don't really have a whole lot of artistic flair, I don't think. So I really love when people get me gifts that are things they made. And I like when people get me gifts that are like artwork or any type of artistic thing. Because I've never had a knack for being artistically, like creative like that. I don't think. So I really like when people do stuff like this for me. I know this isn't a game real quick, but this is also one that my friend Zach drew me during her stream. She's like one of the best artist, or probably the fucking greatest artist I've ever known in real life, I guess, as somebody who's a friend of mine. But she drew this. This is my, you know, my Can character. So I got that framed and set up here. You know, I know these aren't games. I'm getting sidetracked. But anyway, so these are my. I have 2 Super Nintendo games. One is Super Black Bass and Super Godzilla. But this is just because I collect Godzilla stuff. I've never opened this. I just like collecting Godzilla stuff also. But I do have a couple games here that I do really actually like. Front Mission, I haven't got a chance to play this, but the Front Mission games are really cool. They're tactical RPGs involving mechs. I do have a Super Famicom, but I just don't buy a whole lot of games for it. I prefer the Japanese market. It's usually more affordable, so... And I don't have I have no attachment to the Super Nintendo, so I go with the Famicom whenever I can. This is a Sailor Moon beat 'em up. It's really good. And now these are the best, probably the 2 best games I've ever gotten as a gift, and it kind of floored me. So I'll never get over this. But so it was Liz's parents. They went all out on Christmas one year, and almost to the part where it's like it was way too much. It was way too much. But I told them, this is another instance, sort of like my Famicom, right? My Sharp Twin Famicom, when I was like, I'll go half in on these or something if you can, you know, if you want to pay for half or whatever. And then they went around and they just fucking out under me, bought both of them full price. So the reason I went with the Famicom for this is because they are cheaper. They're still expensive, but they're significantly cheaper than the US versions. But so I mentioned I'm not a big Super Nintendo fan. I never have been, but the one exception is the Pocky and Rocky games. I am in love with the Pocky and Rocky games. I love them so much. And yeah, these are pricey. These are expensive, but they're significantly less. But they just went out and fucking did that for me, and it was like, I was amazed. Like, it was so fucking generous. But this is these are very, like, I cherish these quite a bit, because I think the Pocky and Rocky games work better in Japanese anyway, on top of that. And it's just, I love them so much. I've always wanted them. This was 2 games. This is 2 of those games where I was like, I'm never getting them. Because, like, the US version of Pocky and Rocky 2 is like fucking $400 or something, just for the one game. You know, so I just had to accept that I was never going to get them. So, but yeah, so they did that, and it blew my mind, man. It still blows my mind thinking about it. But so yeah, those are my 2, and these are my 2 favorite SNES games ever. I love them so much. I love that series, man. It's so good, so good. So yeah, those are that's those on this shelf here. The rest of this stuff is VHS tapes, which again, you know, if y'all ever want me to do videos on that, just let me know. One last thing I'm going to show. The last thing here is kind of hard to see, but so I mentioned I had some arcade cabinets before. Well, because of, you know, room to put them. Oops, that's a PS3 just leaned over. No room to fucking put them anywhere sometimes, and they were at my mom's house. And then when I moved, I moved into a house that didn't have a garage, and it was like I have to open up storage and all this. So what I did was I made a decision to not have the cabinets anymore. I still have the games. I have the PCV boards here. This is Arkanoid. I keep them in static, you know, static protection. That's what these are for. They're to protect boards like this and everything. I keep them in that, and what I did was, so this is Arkanoid. This here is this is a PlayChoice 10. Goddamn, the fucking PS3 keeps leaning over, man. This here is a PlayChoice 10, and this is the aforementioned, in the back here, this was my Neo Geo Force slot. MVS is what that is. So I keep the games. I kept a lot of the artwork. I didn't get rid of all of it, but I sort of gutted them, and I got rid of the cabinets because some of them were falling apart anyway. I did a really good job restoring a lot of the Neo Geo cabinet, but it had monitor issues. I still have the PlayChoice 10 cabinet just because I want to keep the monitors. There's 2 monitors and they're good. I want to keep them. So I still have that one, but the rest of them I had to get rid of. But I kept the, you know, sort of the artwork, and I used this, you know, in my room. I kept all that stuff, and because I like having a whole lot of like stuff on the walls, you know, from old games. So I kept those and found a way to keep those. Anything like that I kept. And you might be like, well, that was dumb. You got rid of your fucking, you know, cabinet. What are you gonna do? You just keeping them in the board. Well, what I did was I invested in a super gun. So I bought a super gun is what I'm trying to tell you. If you're not familiar, basically what a super gun does is it acts as a sort of all-in-one, it plays arcade games, right? So what it does is you take the board, if it's JAMMA, as a matter of fact, I also have a converter that can convert other things to JAMMA that work. You plug your board, your PCB board, into here. These are controllers that are compatible with Sega Saturn, and you can get other things that are compatible with it. And it runs through SCART cable, right? Which is like the fucking goated video format for retro games, right? It has a little stand there, and then you have this power supply you hook up to it. And what this does is when you turn this on, you look at the little silhouette of Ryu, see? And Pac-Man or whatever. But you're able to turn this on, you have your dip switches and all that, and it runs through SCART into a monitor, like a PVM, professional video monitor, or BVM or whatever. Anything that's SCART compatible, or what is this, DVI? Is that the name of this? I can't remember. Port, so it's, you know, really nice quality image. And it runs into, you know, a monitor. So that's what I have right here. This is my Sony Trinitron PVM monitor that has SCART and you know, capabilities, and also what the hell are the other ones? The cables that like screw in. I can't remember the name of them, but it's high quality, like video signal or whatever, video output. But yeah, that's what this is here for. So yeah, so I can still play my arcade games. I still have a way to play them, so they're still usable and all that. I just don't have the cabinets because there was just not many options, you know. But I honestly like this better. I like having a shelf with my arcade games in a with the PCB boards. I like that better, if I'm being quite honest. So you know, I'd like it better to have the full arcade games if I had a fucking arcade, but I don't. So but yeah, so that's what this is. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah, that's about it as far as the games go and all that. I appreciate everybody sticking around, checking these out. If you do like these videos, you know, and you bark enough, let me know, because I still have, there's plenty of other stuff to look at. Collectibles, or things that I collect. Like I said, we could always go to movies. I didn't even touch on the consoles I got. Oh my god, I forgot to talk about my Saudi Arabian Atari. I forgot all about that shit. I'll make a separate video for that one of these days. But anyway, if you liked all this stuff, let me know. And yeah, I could always do some other videos. You know, I got a board game collection. I've got, you know, fucking movie collection, all that shit. So just let me know if that's something you're interested in. But I appreciate it. It's been fun and a lot of work making these things. Look at all this recorded TV tapes. That's crazy, right? That's press play material. Anyway, so yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to get to do some more very soon. So, all right, guys, y'all take it easy.